first two, and so, or in the first one. So I think like that is really interesting to me, considering how reliant TL has been kind of on that bot lane in some of their drafts. And there is the Nocturne being removed by LYON.
Yeah, that's what's surprising to me. It is almost...
Let's say you get Ori, and we don't get Nocturne.
Okay, now I'm confused.
But they don't get Ori.
Yeah, now they just get Corki.
Yeah.
Because that's what this was all leading up
Corki
to.
Nami is also still up.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, with the Seraphine and the Lulu bans, controlling the Corki Nami is still very effective. But with Orianna being pretty much the most banned champion of the playoffs in the world right now, it's pretty shocking that even with an Orianna counter banned out already and Nocturne banned, that it wouldn't just be first pick. I'm very surprised.
And they're hovering. Okay, so they are going to pick away the Nami for their side. And we'll see if they just end up going with that Orianna to both give it to Saint and then also deny it from QUID.
There's a chance that LYON just doesn't think QUID is that good on it because he has struggled on a lot of control mages. And Saint has also, in a sense, had a lot of his best games on melee. So they actually, they just lock in the Cassiopeia.
Yeah, which we did see previously banned, right? So, and Cassio is really, really strong right now. We've been seeing her a lot more globally as well as in the LCS.
All right, Team Liquid. What are we going to pair with Corki now that Nami is gone? And we're also into Game 4 of Fearless, so the support pool is feeling trimmed down a lot with Seraphine and Lulu both banned normally in this Game 4 draft.
Yeah, as we see Naafiri hover. I remember when Jose popped off on this super, super hard. It does pair really well with the Orianna. Obviously, you can shield her as she goes in addition to her natural kind of turret diving and assassin abilities. And Jose did cite this as one of his best picks and something he's super comfortable on. On the other side, though, we have the Smolder locked in.
Yeah, so that's the pair, at least with the Nami. Hyper carry with Nami, not many enchanters left. I imagine the Corki will probably just go with an engaged champion for CoreJJ, something like Leona or Alistair, just so we have a good trigger pull to fly in with the Naafiri. And in a sense, credit to Team Liquid for getting Orianna that deep into the draft, playing a little game of chicken. If they have the preference for Corki in this game, they get that, and they also get the Orianna later.
But it's what you said earlier. Maybe it is just LYON saying, we don't think that QUID Orianna specifically is a threat. It's not just the champ, it's the pilot as well. So they are essentially daring Team Liquid to show us that QUID has an Orianna worth respecting.
Yeah, as we see the Poppy ban coming through for TL. Don't want to have to deal with that coming out of LYON. But yeah, I am curious to see how Jose and QUID are able to set up this kind of Naafiri Orianna combo, being able to you know, pull off these really insane turret dives, being able to get on priority targets in team fights. It's felt like outside of game 1, where TL were really able to spread the map and keep LYON from team fighting, they have been outfought in the actual 5v5s. As we see the Nico being removed as well. Again, another kind of strong laning option. And Shyvana taken away by TL.
Yeah, LYON targeting the powerful laning supports that are still available, just trying to make sure the Corki doesn't feel strong in this laning phase against the Smolder and Nami. Not just because you don't want to deal with a strong enemy 2v2, but remember that if CoreJJ is going to be playing a melee engaged support, it is that much easier for Berserker to get his Smolder stacks because you're always puking or sneezing on the melee support, and you just stack up that much more quickly.
It's just sneezing, isn't it?
I think this series
his cue is he barfs.
Yeah, true. Sneeze, barf.
Yeah.
When I think of barfing, I think of Kog'Maw.
Barf, snot, fly, mom. That's the 4 abilities.
The Ornn is a flex pick. That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, it's just ignoring you.
The Ornn is a flex pick in this specific series. So the last time they played in the lock-in playoffs, this was a Camille into a Vayne, and then the Ornn jungled. Don't necessarily think you're going to jungle Ornn against the Naafiri, especially when they can just take it into the Renekton as a nice neutralizer pick. But it stopped, just the fact that they had done this to them in the past, I think stopped Team Liquid from trying to go for a really hard counter pick.
Yeah, and I mean, the Renekton locked in for Morgan. Again, something he's super, super comfortable on. This is the champion that everyone knows him for. And then CoreJJ bringing in the Rakan.
Would Inspired pull it out?
God.
Would he pull out the Ivern? There's been much ado about why no one's playing Ivern. Is he going to jungle Ornn? I don't know what he's going to do. He's going to jungle Ornn again. He's actually going to jungle Ornn again.
Yeah.
And they're playing the Gnar
Dhokla is going to get the Gnar.
That's it.
And this is actually huge, getting the Gnar as a as an actual counter pick, because they can jungle the Ornn.
Yeah.
Because Gnar has been so heavily counter-picked by all of these AD options that we've seen Dhokla pull out. We've also even seen like the Tristana in LCK and LPL. So what a draft coming out of LYON. This team is so fun.
Their best of 5 creativity is insane, right? They pulled out Malphite for Dhokla's first career game. The last game wasn't necessarily super creative aside from the Malphite, but they still just had insane team fighting in games 2 and 3. And again here, the weird Orianna led through into just having, like, I can't even say like Ornn jungle into Naafiri. I don't know how that goes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't
either.
really know this matchup at all either because I never figured I would need to learn anything about it. But here we are, as we do have the jungle Ornn for Inspired up against Josedeodo's Naafiri. If Team Liquid could win here, we will go to silver scrapes in both opening series of our playoffs. But LYON, of course, would love to just shut that down immediately and get to work on repeating their success from lock-in. As the current reigning lock-in champions, they would love to be our #1 representative heading to the second international event of the year as well. As we're off from the spawn platforms, taking a look at the runes that we got everywhere. Deathfire Touch for both the Cassiopeia and the Smolder here on the LYON side. Everything else on the other side looks pretty standard stuff. Saint, though, forced to flash at level 1. Nice moves from TL.
Yeah, really nice level 1 coming out of TL. I like that, like, in both of these games, we've seen a little bit more, like, very early action, not only in terms of scouting, but in the last game with Core kind of trying to sneak around on the Pantheon. Here we see TL getting the flash off of Saint, which is going to be huge for QUID. And now we're going to hear from Coach Spooks on how TL are going to potentially come back in this game.
You seemed extremely happy that Saint lost 1 melee XP.
Yeah, honestly, like the biggest advantage from this level 1 is losing that melee XP, so happy about that one.
Must be happy. I mean, after last game, a tumultuous game. I mean, that was the 2nd highest kills in LCS history at the 15-minute mark. It can't be good for the heart. How'd you feel in the back looking at it?
I just think after like the dragon fight, I think we're in like a really good spot to win the game, and I just think we made like a lot of individual mistakes, and obviously team fight wise, they're going to be much better in the late game. So I think we threw pretty hard, to be honest. So yeah, doesn't feel good.
And not to be the guy unpacking trauma here, but that's a flex pick from Ornn once again. I think you guys faced that in lock-in. Thoughts on the draft and how you feel about that pick in particular?
Yeah, I mean, the Ornn jungle is like, obviously it's just a good scaling pick. It's pretty slow tempo champion. I think if this game goes really late, obviously their scaling is going to be good. So we kind of just need to pick up the pace in the mid game. So yeah.
Now that you guys are in match point, oh my god, okay, this one. Let's talk about it.
Well, Orianna's taken a little bit of damage from Cassia, but she's fine, she's out.
Okay, but message that you sent the boys, of course, they're on match point, but one thing that you want your team to just generally improve on?
Yeah, I think for me, last game we were very uncoordinated. We weren't really playing around like when we were strong. Like, for example, Mal on the Luden's timing last game, we just played away from bottom when we could have snowballed through bots. So just recognizing like where we're strong, when we're strong, and being coordinated when we fight. It's like the big things.
Appreciate you for your time, Sam. I'm going to send that one straight back to the casters.
Let's bring this guy up to the caster deck. That's some insane insight right there. I love to hear it from Spooks.
Orianna is losing a lot of health.
But also credit for the interviews. They're in a tough spot in this series. Raz and Spooks also have a relationship. And we remember there was a big fight over the crab here in the last game.
All right, why not do it again? Second verse, same as the first. Berserker stepping up, having to flash away for the grand entrance. For the Aqua Prison, collides on Core's Rakan. He's down to below 100 HP, but Team Liquid did win the crab battle. So they'll walk away with that victory at least.
Crazy Jose was doing that without Smite, so a little bit dicey, but Inspired is just going to slowly walk up to his own top crab, and very slowly. Ornn's not exactly a power clearing jungler.
He moseys.
Yeah.
He doesn't exactly run.
He actually did the full clear into item purchase to arrive at that hopeful crab fight, so he doesn't need to reset. Or sorry, he's Ornn. He built the item.
Yeah, you just
Whenever you want.
crap the thingy in the jungle.
It's not used to Ornn jungle, man.
Yeah, trust me, I'm not used to it either. It's certainly not the most common thing to see.
I will say, this is very indicative of these two junglers. For battling for first team All-Pro, you can still make your own vote for the All-Pro in the spring. We've already voted since it's a regular season award, but the stats for these two is very interesting, Emily.
It is, because as we kind of covered, and you might see this from their actual jungle picks in this game, it feels like Jose is involved in so much of everything that TL wants to do. He visits his lanes a lot more frequently, and then the sacrifice to that is in farm and camp clearing, right? And Inspired is a masterclass at that. I'm watching, waiting to see if I'm going to have to pass it off to Flowers. Core potentially ganking there. But yeah, these two junglers are very different, but I think equally important to their team's success. One thing that I did like already from LYON specifically is using his mid lane prio to track exactly where Jose was, right? He did that little invade for vision, was able to spot out with the scryers, Jose doing his own Krugs. And so keeping eyes on where this Naafiri wants to go is going to be huge.
Get a little bit of trading back and forth down here in this bottom lane. As with every stacking champion, we'll keep an eye on how effectively Berserker is able to stack throughout this game. We do have 31 stacks, so he has hit the first breakpoint already.
Sneezing and puking.
Yes, the barf is now more powerful. It has an AoE on it now. So he'll be able to farm up that much more effectively. And Azael always likes to bring up how as soon as you hit each checkpoint, it just means the next one is going to be that much further accelerated, because each individual checkpoint lets you stack even faster towards the next.
Yeah, it's almost exponential in that way in terms of how it allows you to farm a lot better to reach the next one. And it also just feels better when you're playing the Smolder out. But off of this little bot lane prio that they were able to get, TL are already on this Drake pretty early on. They're going to get spotted out, but LYON are not going to contest it.
I would be pretty surprised if LYON was going to fight these early Drakes with Smolder Ornn.
Yeah.
So they're just going to continue to stack up and get Ornn ultimate.
I mean, it's similar to exactly what we heard from Spooks, right? He's saying if we let this go late, they have a really powerful scaling composition, so we got to make sure that we're heating up throughout the mid game.
And that's where I'm going to look at Jose making plays potentially with this Renekton, right? With the Orianna, trying to make the most of this kind of like early to mid pressure that they might have with this composition. Because otherwise, when it gets to really late 5v5s, it's going to be a lot more difficult for TL.
Morgan did a good job there, dodging away from the first wallop and boulder from Dhokla, but the second combo of the two does hit him, makes the trade overall pretty even, as Morgan does have a decisive advantage in terms of the farm up here in this Renekton versus Gnar matchup.
Yeah, and a lot of times the Gnar needs to sack a little bit in this matchup until he can get his plated steel caps, which Dhokla now has. He's also, throughout this entire series, gone for Doran's helm, whereas Morgan's really gone for Doran's shield, so Dhokla, the scaling choice.
Woo! Man, these are good Aqua Prisons from Isles so far here. But yeah, I like the difference in the Helm versus the Shield, because the new Dorian's items are not as powerful in lane usually, but they scale a lot better. And now Josedeodo working with Morgan, making the dive after Dhokla. He gets himself away for now. The Gnar bar's not charged. Finally does hit it. Josedeodo puts the pressure on Dhokla. They get his flash, but they won't get their kill.
Yeah, they unfortunately won't get the kill there, but these are the moves that we do want to see Jose making with his laners, right? In particular.
Ooh, here we go. Mom summoned. Call the Forge God. Inspired has arrived as Yeon goes over the wall trying to stay alive, but they need a little bit more damage, and LYON can't get it. So the same story that happened topside, Team Liquid barely missing out on the kill but getting summoner spells, now happens bottom lane the other way around.
Yeah, we see both junglers, as soon as they get their ultimates, using them to try to affect Jose in top, and then Inspired down in that bot lane with the Ornn.
And I gotta say, if you're picking between having a Renekton who's ahead or a Smolder who's ahead, you're gonna take the Smolder every time.
Absolutely.
But I'll also say, Morgan has played a lot of Renekton in his career.
It
So
is his
108.
more
Yeah,
than double
this
his
is-
second most played
He
champion.
is the Renekton. He has a Renekton emote. So like Lord Morgan Renekton emote, I'm pretty sure.
That's Chad.
From
I respect that.
From what was that like tournament that they did with like players from each team for the new season? We did one that was like Zoomers versus Boomers.
Kickoff tournament?
Yeah, I swear to God,
Yeah.
I'm not making this up. I'm pretty sure it's that emote from when he was on Breon.
I respect it. Protoplasm Harness completed here for Inspired. Remember back in Lion's first victory in this series, back in game number 2, it was Inspired on the Sejuani, it was Isles on the Nautilus, both of them going for this first low price point but very powerful item because of the healing
That's
that you
crazy.
get from it. Saint just walked up and stole the grub from Jose and slithered right on out.
That's some ego right there.
Yeah. It also does like show though how much Saint has been able to leave lane after just kind of pushing up, right? Like I talked about that invade for vision to track where Jose was. Here he's able to actually take one of the grubs away from Jose, who was kind of getting that on the top side after that top lane gank because they have top pressure. Although Inspired may be looking for something now up here.
Yeah, no flash on Morgan and ult for Dhokla.
Okay, Dhokla goes in, hits the Mega Gnar, follows it up with a boulder, but both junglers are here. Call the Forge God is in. Call the Forge God goes through. Josedeodo jumping in after Dhokla, who has reverted into mini Gnar form. Morgan gets chunked low, but now without any more resources, with Dhokla reverting back out of that Mega Gnar, it means Lion can't continue.
Yeah, good counter gank there by Jose, but at the end of the day, just trading ultimates is not accelerating the game the way that Team Liquid would want. So Inspired is probably pretty happy with taking that trade and just going back to farm his camps.
Yeah, I think Inspired is super happy with how this game is going. Like, yes, they gave up first Drake, but TL hasn't really been able to accrue any massive leads outside of that farm lead that Morgan has up on the top side, right? So the game is in a pretty good state for them, and they've also done a really good job of being able to respond and track where Jose is going.
I'm not going to lie, you guys, I'm a little bit disappointed. This time last game, we had like 15 kills on the board.
I know, we have no kills.
Yeah.
You look very sad.
Yeah, 0 kills almost 11 minutes in after that game number
Look,
3.
they're trying. We've had some games.
Okay,
Well,
we've
so
had some attempts.
I don't think Lion's trying.
No, I
to
don't
get
think they are
kills.
either.
I think they have a very different mindset depending on the team comp that they're playing. This is one where they're saying, Smolder, just wait. Ornn, just wait. Cassio, all she's done is build boots and mana. So if this was old Cassio, you would have literally just bought mana.
Yeah.
There's nothing's happening so far for Saint other than pushing and moving.
Saint under a little bit of pressure now, does flash away. Was at the edge of the shockwave. I'm not certain whether or not he would have got caught on the very edge of it, but
close.
did not want to risk that, so he commits the flash. So Team Liquid will at least secure that summoner spell game for themselves. But now the second Drake of the game is live. Remember that Team Liquid got the first Drake as well as 2 out of 3 of the grubs. CoreJJ going in here with the quickness, finds the grand entrance, locks up Saint, but there's just no follow-up from anybody else on Team Liquid. CoreJJ wanting to go after the mid laner, knowing there's no flash, but the coordination just not there.
Yeah, and you see bot lane heading back bot to kind of try to push this up as TL move in. They still might be looking at taking this Drake.
Yeah, I can't imagine Lion actually fighting this. I think they were trying to just delay it as long as possible. Inspired's camps are respawning a little bit, so he was able to go back. But now they're still
Yeah,
looking for something.
Yeah, they're kind of
it's on their
soft
mind.
contesting
What are we doing,
it.
Inspired?
Yeah. Okay, we are just going to back away now. Josedeodo still with total control over the pit. Grabs that one. Dhokla trying to keep Morgan's health bar nice and low. He does have that Fury-empowered Call to Meek, though, for a little surge of HP whenever he decides to cast it.
Yeah, top lane's going really well for Morgan. He had the early jungle help, but now Jose's looking to make a play. This is where they really need to make action happen, is around this bot lane.
Yeah. He was spotted out on that ward, though, so...
Oh, Morgan flash into the Ruthless Predator, solo kill onto Dhokla. Big Dokes not respecting Lord Morgan's crocodile enough.
Yeah, he is incredibly comfortable. This is his pick, right? And it is a pick that was like kind of frequently banned away from him initially when he came
And we missed
into
the kill on the
LCS.
Saint. Saint's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
That happened too.
Yeah, we got 2 different kills. We'll get a replay, hopefully, of the one that happened in mid lane. As let's take a look at what's happening. Oh, it's a greedy recall from Saint.
And that's a little ward you didn't see.
Yeah.
I sees it now.
There's just a little bit of laziness.
Yeah, that was right before Dhokla died.
Yeah.
So there's a world where Dhokla could blame Saint for distracting him.
Oh. My bad.
He said my bad.
Yep.
Yeah, he didn't blame
I mean, that's pretty much the response you have there. He thought he would be able to run him down, because if he got one more auto attack, he would fully charge his
I was gonna say,
Narvar, and the slice was already down.
so close, yeah.
So I saw the thought process there, but he just wasn't ready for the flash insta-gib as the response. Yeon also losing out in that trade against Berserker, since Isles is around to make sure the Smolder stays healed up. And right now, things are looking great for Team Liquid. 2,500 gold lead. Both of your solo laners are up an individual 1,000 gold or more. Dhokla and Saint now trying to keep Team Liquid away from this bottom lane tier 1 turret. Inspired is hanging around as well, but so is Josedeodo. Might get ourselves a good old-fashioned 3v3 down here, as the 4th plate is taken from the tier 1 turret there by Saint. LYON just trying to get themselves some kind of resources, but this is not a good sign for Dhokla. Does get chunked down a little bit, but he's still safe.
Yeah, and that time he had Mega Gnar available. I think the big thing here to me is the fact that LYON were still, despite obviously that entire turret topside is going to go to the Orianna. QUID now sitting at a 1.6k gold lead over Saint after that kill and taking that top tier 1 for himself, so he's in a really good spot. I did like LYON pushing them off the bot wave though, and the fact that they had established a little bit of mid-prio as TL, potentially looking to make a play onto Dhokla. Probably just chase him off the wave so that Morgan can get this turret.
Mainly just making the solo laners further and further ahead for Team Liquid. Have a numbers advantage in the mid lane here as well. Jose able to counter jungle some Raptors.
And Inspired gets chunked down very low. Again, it's that Protoplasm Harness keeping him alive. But this is a 4,000 gold lead for Team Liquid, and it's about to be more as Morgan takes the turret.
Yeah, and this is looking a lot like Game 1 from Team Liquid. So it's actually really interesting for a LYON team who's kind of known for scaling and late game team fighting. The two team comps that have forced them into fighting in games 2 and 3 worked really well.
Yep.
But the two team comps where they're saying, we just need to wait until we're strong, that's given Team Liquid just free reign to play super aggressively with LYON not going for plays, and I think Team Liquid not needing to respond to LYON plays has played so much better.
Yeah, and as we see, Berserker pretty much on par with the average, with the average Smolder stacks. But I love your point, Jatt, because we talked about how the impetus in this game is for TL to kind of spread LYON on the map and avoid them getting into a situation where they can 5v5 in a late game, right? And thus far, they've been able to do that, giving top tier 1 over to the Orianna, giving bot tier 1 over to the Renekton, and now hopefully being able to play around these two large points of power in their composition.
Yeah, Morgan's signature Renekton up 50 farm now over Dhokla on the Gnar. Massive difference there. And we talked in draft about how it's kind of crazy that Team Liquid got Orianna on pick number 3 when this champion is normally just banned out of every series. And it's how it's kind of LYON saying, okay, show us that your Orianna is worth respecting, and QUID's having a very respectable Orianna right now.
And Team Liquid really tried to set it up this way. They overloaded the bush to burn Saint's flash level 1, and also to deny 1 melee XP, as Spooks talked about.
The most important thing.
Then Saint actually did have a lot of early lane prio, so I can see LYON's logic of saying, hey, in scrims, Cassio has been great into Orianna. We're able to win early lane, and he's able to move with it. But to me, like, it doesn't matter if your Cassio can move, if your Ornn is losing 1v1 to Renekton and your bot lane is just trying to stack on Smolder and your jungler is Ornn. So then it becomes about him just being low mobility and vulnerable to ganks.
Dhokla finally completes his first big item there with the Trinity Force 17.5 minutes into the game. Yes, he had to stop off for fully completed boots first, but that still feels slow, slow, slow as the Dragon is started by Team Liquid.
And we talked about how giving up early Drakes is kind of part of LYON's MO in this game, right? Because they kind of want to wait and scale for later 5v5s. But now, after this take, TL is going to be on Soul Point at a pretty early point in this game. It's not even, it's just about 18 minutes. and they're already on Soul Point with an Infernal Soul.
So here's the important thing about that. When we brought up the Smolder stack stats earlier that you commented on, Emily, saying Berserker is right about where you would expect for his stacking. The final checkpoint, the 225, that huge one, is also, I believe, around that 23-minute mark. So that means that when this Dragon Soul spawns, it's actually going to be very important whether or not Berserker is at that breakpoint or not.
I feel like objective bounties are going to turn on any second now. This is very one-sided. LYON has not been able to retaliate whatsoever.
And look at where the side lanes are, right? Like Morgan is all the way pushed up in this, pressuring tier 2. The Ori had pushed up this bot wave, and now they're onto Inspired.
Yeah, Inspired gets pulled back with a shockwave. Mom comes in, the tidal wave flies out from Isles as Josedeodo wants to go in with a Hound's Pursuit, but immediately has to use Call of the Pack, trying to get himself back away. Team Liquid, they've overcommitted into the enemy jungle. They got to spin flashes getting back out, and Inspired miraculously survives.
Ooh, a lot of damage came down from Mom, for sure, as well as the tidal wave flying through. So you can see the idea of what LYON wants to have if they can get these team fights in small corridors, but that was a Team Liquid fight that started on Inspired that made him fly away.
Yeah, and that was born off of this map pressure that they've been able to create with the Ori and the Renekton continuing to push side waves and then keeping Corki in the mid to try to pressure mid as well. As we see.
Morgan was trying to TP to join the fight, and the Miasma canceled it. Nicely done there from Saint.
Yeah, that was a nice play from Saint.
Thank you, observers, for catching that one. I had not even noticed, as Morgan will clear out some more wards, maintain his control over the top lane. Berserker, 197 stacks here on the Smolder. You still got 3 minutes to farm 25 stacks. It also helps when you have fights like that in the corridor where it hits multiple champions with multiple spells, because you just get this massive influx of stats. I think there's no question now whether or not he will hit the checkpoint before the fight.
Yeah, he should have it locked in before this next Drake fight, which is going to be incredibly important.
Yeah, Black Cleaver as well. Inspired's going to be on 2 items. I believe Saint will be there as well. Also, a reminder, we're going to be back in the Riot Games Arena next week. Tickets are on sale now.
Come
at
see us.
lcs.tixer.com to get your tickets today. The loser of this game will be playing.
Yeah, come see one of these teams.
Yep.
Now, still just such a... It's 0-2 at 20.5 minutes. I just can't get over how different this is from game number 3.
Everyone where we like couldn't even go through the entirety of a fight before they were fighting again. But I will say this does favor LYON, despite how much we've talked about how TL have been able to set the map in their favor. They should be able to do this for this next Drake fight and kind of pick the positions in which you already see they're going to be clearing out this mid-tier one with the Herald early instead of using it as an immediate point of pressure immediately prior to the Drake. So they should be able to set the conditions. However, the fact that it hasn't been super bloody and scrappy is also a really nice point for LYON.
Inspired blocked the charge there with an Ornn Q. Very nicely done.
Nice, 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 nice. Okay, so the Herald's cleared out before we can get a second charge. Also, Abyssal Mask completed for Inspired will amp his own damage as well as that of Saint. But the Cassiopeia still very far away of having that Rod of Ages all the way stacked up.
And I'll say this is still a tense game. If LYON wins one team fight, that might just give them the advantage in the game.
Yeah.
Because there are already decent-sized bounties on the Orianna and the Renekton, but I just find it hard to see how they can get to that team fight to win.
That's why the setup for this next Drake is so important. As you see LYON kind of pushing back, this is going to be a vision battle over this bot side because TL basically want to make it as difficult as possible for LYON to even approach, because if they get this, it's like a 23, 24-minute Infernal Soul.
Yeah. I wonder if LYON gives it. I know that's the ugliest thing.
Just to bring Elder onto the map?
Something like that, yeah. Just, they don't feel strong enough to fight right now. Dhokla doesn't have a second item. I guess Saint did complete Seraph, so they're going to go for it. You're probably just losing the game if you give it, but it feels very low chance that they win either way.
It's so strong. It's like, what, like 5,000-6,000 gold for the stats?
Too much.
Like, it's so much damage. Okay, 15 seconds until what will be the Infernal Soul for Team Liquid spawns. LYON still only level 10 on Isles, so no level 2 ulti here for the Nami, but the same can be said for CoreJJ's Rakan. As Morgan, still the biggest individual lead in this game, up 2,500 gold, has Hysterics completed, which is a massive difference maker in a team fight when you are one of these traditional bruiser type of champions. Dhokla still nowhere close to that power spike himself.
Trying to move in.
Teleports arriving. Josedeodo already putting in the work here onto the Infernal Dragon. The Ornn misses. QUID with a nice sidestep. As Inspired has to try to step up. Challenge here for the Dragon. It's down to 2,000 HP. Inspired wants to go in. He's stolen it away. Inspired gets it done. And now Josedeodo might just get knocked down. Staying alive for now. With the call to back, but Berserker's got the kill back into Jose. Morgan getting juggled around as Mom roars through. Saint died though. Morgan with a massive heal from call to make a double kill back over to QUID. As Inspired falls. QUID still fighting. Dhokla still kiting Berserker. 1v2 against Yeon and CoreJJ. As Yeon gets out for now, QUID still trying to escape. Berserker files a snot ball over the wall. A nice aqua prison. Locks up QUID. Berserker with a flash over. He's trying to get a little bit more, but no! Berserker went too far! And Team Liquid, they may have lost the Drake, but LYON overstays and Team Liquid outplays.
A few auto attacks away from LYON, turning the entire game around. LYON miraculously get the Drake steal. The fight is close, but Team Liquid clutches it in the end, and it is not an elegant entrance by LYON into the river, but using the Ornn ult and having the Mega Gnar timing at least gets them to it. I'm sure Team Liquid is questioning why Yeon is on midway, fully zoned away, and how Morgan can't immediately annihilate their backline. But Saint did a great job kind of zoning two people by the time that Jose dies, and that makes the fight very playable for Berserker.
Yeah, and I mean, Berserker is able to just do massive amounts of damage here, especially with the help from Isles. QUID having to flash over that bubble, and then they just push up way too far, right? Because as soon as they hit this bubble onto QUID, they're like, okay, we can go immediately in here. No, Yeon and Core are there. Spawn on the edge of his seat. He's happy about that one.
I think Spawn knew that if Berserker cleans up there, the series is over and TL's going lower bracket, but now it's still back in Team Liquid's hands.
Okay, the quickness from Core has found Saint. The Cassiopeia with a petrifying gaze only locks up Yeon, but Saint's staying alive for now. LYON looking for something else as Mom comes into the mix. Dhokla throws out another boomerang, but Josedeodo has already got away. Team Liquid again trying to find something here, but they cannot seal the deal and complete the pick. The one thing I wanted to mention about that last team fight, for as close as it was, the ulti from Inspired hit no one. The ulti from Saint also hit no one. That's two big team fighting ultis that didn't really do a whole lot of anything. And so if those connect, things are even a lot closer. Total damage this game, it's Berserker topping the charts.
Yeah, and Berserker is why this suddenly becomes so scary, right? Because to your point, two priority ultimates did not hit in that fight, and it was still so close, kind of evened out more by the fact that LYON were actually over-chasing to try to get that last kill onto QUID. But Berserker, thus far, has been able to hit really freely in so many of these fights. They've done such a good job protecting him.
Well, I'm just a little surprised that Morgan, with that gargantuan gold lead, hasn't been able to have a bigger impact in team fights. So he's definitely getting a lot of gold, applying a lot of side lane pressure. But usually in those fights, when a team has to funnel into the Drake, it's the Renekton who annihilates. But he couldn't really do much to Cassiopeia as Jose and Core are thinking about starting this Baron.
Yeah, this is a two-man Baron with one of the men being the support, which is generally not what you see, but at the same time, it doesn't look like there's really any inkling from LYON that they know this. Okay, finally we're seeing a couple of blue pings come down onto the Baron pit. They did use the Scryer trinket to figure out what's going on. Josedeodo is still just continuing to work on this on his own. The Naafiri has the Baron down to about 40%. Inspired still trying to move up. LYON has to know that something's going on here. Josedeodo still staying on the Baron. Got it down to 7,000, now backing away as LYON recognizes they got to bring more bodies over. Team Liquid trying to maintain control over this bottom side river. Saint still in bottom lane, pushing right now. Does have a teleport if he needs it. Inspired, nice use of Bellows Breath there to make sure he's not affected by the Grand Entrance knockup of CoreJJ.
And this entire time, Cassio is just, it looked like she was like, okay, do you need me? Like, Saint's like, do you need me? No? Okay. I am going to continue pushing up this bot wave, which now Morgan has to respond to and kind of stops any sort of Baron sneak that TL was looking to have.
And with Baron now having the aggro taken off of him, it's less than 45 seconds until the Infernal Soul again is on the table for Team Liquid. LYON answered the first challenge. Now it's time for the next. Team Liquid will have another chance. Ornn's combo of making an enemy brittle and then doing the clap bonk actually does a surprising amount of burst. It is an execute combo with smite, and I don't think Josedeodo was ready for how strong that was, and that's why it was easy for Inspired to steal it away last time.
QUID could proc his Storm Surge off of QW onto Saint, but Nami is healing him back up, so pretty nicely done. QUID very fed, Morgan very fed. It's really about their performance in this fight. As Dhokla's propping Mega Gnar early, they're going to have to move in.
That's the thing that I'm looking at here. Gnar bar management is so huge for these objective fights. Dhokla's already down to about half the timer, and Team Liquid's just playing it nice and slow. They're waiting this out. They're waiting for Dhokla to enter that period of exhaustion where he will not be able to retransform. As Dhokla finds Morgan on the backside of the pit, just tries to zone him away. The rest of LYON stepping forward here in a 4v4. Remember, LYON has to play around Berserker. Berserker is the win con if they want to have any kind of a chance. As Team Liquid trying to DPS the Drake down to about 3,000. Inspired going in, fires back towards Morgan as the target. As the Drake is secured by Josedeodo, smited down to 10 HP. It was so close, but that's huge. Immediate destruction. Team Liquid dog piles in, and everybody on LYON is 6 feet deep.
Morgan actually soaked up so much damage in that fight, despite the fact that he was marked on the flank by Dhokla, had to kind of come around and rejoin. He took so much, and they still weren't able to kill him. That is the kind of Renekton that we want to see for TL in these fights. And now TL are surging into the base.
Yeah, I don't see any world where LYON's able to stop this one. Isles will be the only one respawning as Team Liquid is about to crash into the Nexus turrets. We got a full 5 games yesterday, and we are getting a full 5 games today in Emily Rand's match of the week. Isles might survive, but the Nexus will not. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to Silver Scrapes.
These playoffs are delivering. The top 4 teams are so close to one another. Another scaling comp doesn't completely come online for LYON as Team Liquid found the fight they needed. Game 5 coming soon.